The following podcast may contain sounds and subject material that some viewers may find distressing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Food for thought.
Hello and welcome to the Food for Thought podcast, episode 1 of our Recreation and Reflection series. Today we will be looking at the tragic shooting in Santa Monica, committed by perpetrator John Zawahiri. We will be reconstructing the events that happened that day and then provide our input on the incident and how we believe horrible crimes like this can be prevented in the future. This is Food for Thought, Recreation and Reflection, episode 1, the Santa Monica Massacre. John Zawahiri, 23 years of age, living at 2036 Yorkshire Avenue, Santa Monica. Zawahiri lives at home with his father and brother. He misses his mother. She lives in Mar Vista, Los Angeles, after a family dispute led to the separation of his parents. The dispute in question? His mother claimed that she was beaten and abused by her husband after a rigorous argument over divorce and custody over John. This did not make John happy. It filled him with anger. Hidden away in his room, an AR-15 type semi-automatic rifle. Zawahiri had problems with the law before surrounding his weapons. The issue started back in 2006. Zawahiri was attempting Olympic High School in Santa Monica, browsing one of the school computers. A teacher walked up behind him to check on his work. They couldn't believe what they saw. Web pages researching information on assault weapons and explosive devices. Alarm bells started to ring in the teacher's mind. He had been known to threaten teachers, students, and security officers around the school. Soon after this information was discovered, the police arrived at his family home. They began to search it for weapons and found multiple bomb-making materials belonging to Zawahiri. He was then subsequently admitted to the UCLA Neuropsychiatric Institution, a research centre that monitors behavioural disorders. It's the morning of June 7th, 2013. Zawahiri is sat in his room. He had been waiting for this day for a while. He was fully prepared for what he was going to do and had all the equipment he needed. His AR-15 automatic rifle, his 1958 Remington model cap and bore muzzle loading revolver, his black tactical clothing and body armour, and stacks of ammunition. To be precise, 40 30-round magazines that would fit into his bag and pouches in his clothing. Zawahiri entered the living room of his house. He sees his father and brother inside. He looks at his family, lifts his weapon, and then pulls the trigger. Samir Zawahiri and Chris Zawahiri died of gunshot wounds. His dad was 55 years of age. His brother, only 25 years of age. May they both rest in peace. His next move was to light the house ablaze. He knows that if he burns the house down with the bodies in it, then there is less likely to be traces towards the murder. The house started to burn down as John Zawahiri fled the scene. This is only just the beginning of his planned massacre. The time is 11:52 a.m. The California Highway Patrol received a phone call of shots fired. Upon arrival, police called the fire department when they saw a house on fire. Police found the two bodies of John's brother and father inside the house, burned beyond recognition, both confirmed to have died from gunshot wounds. John Zwahari had fled the scene. Equipped with all his weaponry and armour, he runs to the surrounding roads. He is looking to hitchhike a ride to Santa Monica College. How will he do this? Pure force. He sees a woman driving a Mazda hatchback and knows what he must do. He pulls out the rifle and holds her at gunpoint, demanding she drives him to the college. A passing driver tries to intervene between John and the victim. She's shot and wounded, but thankfully survives. John gets into the car and they drive away. Next stop, Santa Monica College. The two of them start to drive towards their destination. It was only a couple of blocks away, but that must have felt like an eternity for the poor victim. While heading to their destination, John pulls out his rifle again and starts to shoot. He sees a Santa Monica city bus across the road. He aims, and he opens fire. The bullets hit into the side of the bus, causing damage. He keeps firing his rifle. At the end of the attack, 3 people were injured, but thankfully, none fatal. During this shooting spree, John also shot a police cruiser. Thankfully, no one was hurt. The pair continue to drive towards the college. They finally reach their destination. Before arriving, John spots a Ford Explorer driving past him. He again lifts up his rifle and shoots. Sadly, during this shooting, the driver of the vehicle, Carlos Navarro Franco, was shot and killed. He was 68 years old. His passenger, Marcela Diaz Franco, was also shot and badly injured. She then sadly died 2 days later in hospital from wounds to the face and neck. After this rampage, he left his hijacked vehicle and continued on foot towards the college. He heads to the college library, the same place he was browsing and researching weapons years before. He looks around his surroundings and sees a woman outside the building. He doesn't want to take any chances. Again, he raises his rifle and opens fire at the victim. Margarita Gomez was shot and killed. She was 68 years old. After the murder, John Zwahari's fatality count had reached 5. He walked up to the library doors, all of his next moves being recorded on CCTV cameras across the school. John enters the library, full of studying students, and opens fire. Witnesses of the gunfire claim they heard bullets and screams, but thankfully nobody within the school was hurt. They were able to hide or escape the building before Zwahari could get to them. In total, he fired 70 rounds of ammunition across the college campus and dropped a duffel bag loaded with ammunition magazines, boxes and bullets and his Remington .44 revolver. Police who had been alerted from the shots fired call from his house earlier on Yorkshire Way have just started to arrive at the campus. They enter the college and eventually find Zwahari, the man they are after.
Put the weapon down.
They see he is armed and proceed to exchange gunfire with the perpetrator.
Open fire. Suspect down.
Eventually, they hit him. Zwahari was fatefully shot by police inside the library. He was brought outside of the college, where he eventually passed away. The shooting spree may have only lasted for 13 minutes, but the effects it will have on the families and people of the Santa Monica area will last a lifetime. On August 7th, 2013, the Los Angeles Community College District Board of Trustees created a resolution to ban firearms on its 9 area campuses. The resolution stated, "Repeated serious occurrences of the campus-based shootings being the catalyst to this ban." It further went on to state, "The presence of firearms, even when non-operational and in the instructional setting, lends itself to the potential for panic and fear. The resolution allowed for firearms to only be allowed on campus if armed by a sworn law enforcement officer or if one was being used in a theatre performance. This planned to and would hopefully end any further incidents of shooting massacres from occurring across the Community College Board of Trustees' 9 campuses. Hello and welcome to the reflection section of our podcast. Today I'm joined with Luan and Darren from the Food for Thought team. How you guys doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Yeah, man. We have been researching through the horrific events during the podcast of the recreation. Friends of John Zawahiri said he had a fascination with guns. Do you think this should have been a red flag from the beginning?
Yes and no. In the way that obviously he can be obsessed with guns. He can own say a BB gun or a Nerf gun or a Super Soaker or play video games like Call of Duty or Fortnite. But it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to go buy a firearm from the nearest supermarket and take it into a school.
Yeah.
But obviously it can start out that way, but there's probably thousands upon thousands of kids and adults in the US with obsessions with guns.
Yeah.
They think they're cool, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go and do something like that.
No, I agree. I think that just because someone enjoys, some people do it as a recreational hobby, and I think you can't relate that to some sort of killing. I think you need to look at the more psychological aspect of a human. Anything you'd like to add, Darren?
Yeah, I think touching on that looking at a difference between enjoying guns and being obsessed with guns maybe is a huge difference actually, because a lot of people enjoy guns, especially boys, like we were saying, video games.
Yeah, I'd say, just to say, I think that is just, we've grown up on that. There's so many games, I think it was really popular that even if you're sort of under the age of 18 that you'd play Call of Duty, and I think that can, that is how a lot of kids have been brought up, but it doesn't mean that all those kids are going to then go and do a horrible massacre like this.
For sure, yeah.
100% agree.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. Zawahiri stated in his suicide note that he expressed remorse for killing his father and brother. This led to people believing that the shooting was due to mental illness. Do you guys agree with that?
Yes, in the way that the way he left the note, it's just it comes across to me as if you don't express remorse. You don't write in a note that you express remorse for something you're about to do. Yeah,
no, I agree with that. I think it was especially strange for me finding out that I personally thought when first researching this whole case study that when looking into how his father allegedly abused his mother and then led her to flee and the whole thing about divorce and everything like that, I found it really shocking to find out he expressed remorse. I just thought that's that would have been his motivation to commit this horrible act, but it was really, really surprising to find out that it wasn't. So I really do think that mental illness played a part. If, it must have been some sort of motive in the back of his head. It must have been some sort of accumulation of emotion. I think that's just, that has to be down to mental illness.
You can't think like that and not have a mental illness, really. You can't think, I'm going to go kill someone for, as if there's some kind of, war hero going to end the war by killing this guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill a human being, but, I have to. It's a very messed up way of thinking, and it makes me think that it is down to mental illness.
Yeah.
Do you not think that regardless of the motivation that killing your brother and your father is definitely linked to mental illness either way?
Yeah, no, I think, I think, even with the motivation, I agree. Even if he didn't say remorse, I think there's still got to be some, that even if it's mental trauma that's led to a mental illness from that aspect of life, I've got to agree with you.
It's more so of the note is just real, the note itself, I think, is just more evidence.
Yeah. I'm going to have to wrap this one up now, guys. Thank you for listening to episode 1 of Recreation and Reflection, the Santa Monica Massacre. I've been Joe, joined by Luan and Darren.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it, thank you.
We hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Food for thought.